Hello and welcome to this Prepare for IELTS speaking video. My name's Rebecca and in this video I'm going to look at the part 1 topic of farms. Before I go through the language and the model answers, I want to say one very important thing. Part 1 is not a warm-up. Many IELTS teachers tell you it's a warm-up and an opportunity to just start using the language and the examiner is not examining you. This is wrong. The examiner is listening to every word, every piece of grammar that you're saying right from the start of the test. And when I was an IELTS examiner, I was making decisions of the IELTS grade right at the very start. So it's important that you use a range of discourse markers for your fluency and coherence grade. You use a range of tenses accurately for grammatical range and accuracy. And you use some complex language for your lexical resource band. In all of these answers, you will see that I'm trying to use complex grammar, complex discourse markers, and a range of lexical resource. It is difficult. I appreciate that. You're nervous. You're speaking in a foreign language. But try to make your answers as complex as possible. I'm pretty sure I use this all the time as a native speaker, and it's when you're certain, you think you're right about something. I'm pretty sure. When I was studying, I use this all the time in my model answers because IELTS examiners love continuous tenses. When I was studying in primary school, just learn that phrase. When I was studying in primary school, in the UK, we call it primary school. I think in America they call it elementary school. If I remember rightly, make sure you have lots of these expressions. In our IELTS course on Udemy, we have loads of these expressions that we use. Things to say, I think I'm sure about this, I think I'm remembering it correctly, but I'm not completely sure, if I remember rightly. Something like that. We use this all the time in the UK when we're referring to something, but you're not being specific about it. We made butter or something like that. And fed some livestock. Make sure your past simples are correct. Feed, fed some livestock. Livestock are animals and birds kept on a farm, such as cows, sheep, chickens, etc. Now, there are different types of farms. There are arable farms. These grow crops like wheat. There are mixed farms, so these are both arable and cattle. Cattle are animals that are kept for meat or dairy. You have hill sheep. These are sheep that live out on hills and keep the grass short. Market gardening. These are vegetable farms. You don't need to know all of these words, but it's useful to know one or two if you want to use some complex language. For many part 1 questions you get asked, what blah 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 do you like? And often in life you don't have a preference. So you can say, I'm not sure I have a preference. And it means there's not one I like more than the others. I'm not sure I have a preference. To be perfectly honest, just a bit more complex than saying to be honest. An awful lot of. I use this all the time, and it makes it stronger than just saying a lot. It can mean a real lot or very much of something. I eat an awful lot of bread. I guess, try not to use I think, I guess. Arable farms would be my favourite. Arable farms are where we grow crops. Crops are things like wheat and barley. We'll look at those in a moment. And I've used the second conditional here. Arable farms would be my favourite if I had to choose one. Again, a useful expression for lots of part 1 questions. Blah would be my favourite if I had to choose one. Oh, absolutely. Instead of just saying yes, make your answer a little bit stronger. Oh, absolutely. We rely on, we depend on, a variety, a lot of. Dairy, so dairy farms produce milk and cheese. Wheat is what I talked about before in the arable farms. Wheat is in the picture and wheat is made into flour that makes bread. Veg is an informal way of saying vegetables when speaking, and such like. Very useful when you're giving lists to end it with and such like instead of and so on, etc. We would be lost without them. To be lost without someone or something means you'd be unable to live or work without something. So they're vitally important. They're very important for our lives. We would be lost without them. A lot of IELTS Part 1 questions ask you, did you do this when you were young? Not that I can recall. It's just like saying, not that I can remember. I come from an urban area very useful for lots of topics and writing as well, meaning a town or a city. Tricky, difficult, agricultural labour, farm work. And some second conditional again, if I had the chance to do it now, I would jump at it. To jump at something means to accept an opportunity in a very enthusiastic way. So you would do it very keenly, very enthusiastically. If I had the chance to do it now, I would jump at it. I love animals and being out in the open. If you're out in the open, it means you're outdoors. Now, I've used lots of complex language in here. Don't worry, you don't have to remember everything, but I wanted to show you, you need to include things for fluency and coherence. You need to include a range of grammar. So I've got past continuous, I've got correct past simple, I've got second conditional, and you need to use a wide range of language. And this means phrases. So to jump at something is a phrase. You can't just use complex individual words. We need phrases to get high band scores. Now I'm just going to read through the model answers so you can hear these words being used. Have you ever visited a farm? I'm pretty sure that I visited a farm when I was studying in primary school. If I remember rightly, we made butter or something like that and fed some livestock. What kinds of farms do you like? I'm not sure I have a preference, to be perfectly honest. I eat an awful lot of bread, so I guess arable farms would be my favourite if I had to choose one. Do you think farming is important? Oh, absolutely. We rely on farms for a variety of products such as dairy, wheat, veg and such like, so we would be lost without them. Did you do farm work when you were young? Not that I can recall. I come from an urban area, so it would be tricky to do any agricultural labour. If I had the chance to do it now, I would jump at it because I love animals and being out in the open.